Hello and welcome to the HPTV podcast, where we talk about all things Harry Potter on HBO, the beautiful television show, hopefully coming in 2027. I'm Mitchell, here along with Steven and Jamie. You can follow us on socials at HPTVPod or email us at hptvpodcast@gmail.com. What is up, hoes?
Not much.
Should we explain the hoe is like a term of endearment in our family?
I know. I have to explain that to people sometimes.
It's a good thing. Yeah. Has nothing to do with Jamie being promiscuous or female.
No.
Or Steven being promiscuous.
We're all hoes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. We do have like a family group that's like the hoes or something, right? And and we're all in it. So it's not even a gender.
Over the summer, I vacationed with our sister and our parents, and my mom had some of her friends come hang out with us for a few days. And me and my sisters kept referring to each other as hoes. And my sister had to like explain like, oh, this is a term of endearment amongst us because these were like my mom's boomer religious friends. But you know, if you're coming along on our vacation, you're going to hear hoe.
Yeah.
It's how
just roll with it.
You know you're
roll
loved. There's not even context to it because no one in our family is really a hoe. If there was anyone, it probably was Steven in high school.
Hey, dated the most.
That's true. I did pretty good in high school. No, it was the exact opposite though. It was that everyone was so well behaved and no one like that you could call them a hoe without anyone actually worrying that there was actually any promiscuity.
Could you imagine if someone became a hoe and we would have had to like stop saying hoe? That would have been
one
hard.
particular person.
Hold it.
There's
Mitchell?
One person who thought that Jamie was a hoe, and I don't want to name them.
Who thought it was a hoe?
I'll text you.
But big news, we finished the first book, Harry Potter.
We did. Well, I still have a few chapters to read.
Some of us made it.
I was
namely me.
Busy. Steven only showed up for one of the book clubs. Let's expose him.
Hey, I showed up for two. There were only four, right? I showed up for the first two, I think.
Maybe four or five.
I think I missed. Anyway, I missed too many. Sorry. Next time.
But
luckily there's 7 books.
I was a really good experience. And I'm actually really glad I did this. And especially with my daughter, because it was like seeing it through her eyes. But again, I listen to the books all the time, but it's just kind of become like background noise, or there's like certain parts I'll listen to and other parts, there's parts I skip in general that like make me cringe or anything. Not of the first book, really. There's not much of that. But it was like, I don't know. It just reminded me why I love Harry Potter. I cried reading, and I've said this throughout time, like reading at different parts in your life, you get different things from it. But like reading it as a mom, like the whole Mirror Erised chapter, I cried like the whole time because I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor kid just wants to see this. And like the fact that he's just sitting in front of the mirror, and then the Jim K, the version we're reading, the illustrations of him like against the mirror. I'm like, oh my gosh. But just overall, I'm like, oh, this book is really good. Obviously, I know that. And just like the complexity for kids, like having those really deep themes, which are in other children's books and YA novels, but there's just something about like the mix she does of like, the excitement of becoming a wizard, this and this happening, like the ridiculousness of like this kid's basically been abused for all these years and he has to go back there and all that kind of stuff. But there's like such a depth underlying about why, what happened to Harry, and Dumbledore kind of guiding Harry along. And I don't know, it was just really cool and much better than the movie.
More of that in the TV show to illustrate.
But like there's enough for little kids, like because my 7-year-old is now getting into, he's about to turn 7 and he's curious about it and everything too, and so it's kind of like, but there's enough where like it's challenging for them to understand and it's interesting for them to kind of understand like intricacies that maybe they haven't thought about before, but it's also not like over the top, like it doesn't like blow their little brains or anything, or make it too much. And so, yeah, there's a very good balance, like you said. One of the things I've loved as we were doing the book club is because I only have so many copies that'll let the kids touch, to be honest, of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone. And so I've got like the chapter version. And then so my daughter grabbed like the pop-up version that we have, which I think we only have the first book or 2 books in it. And so like you guys were showing the illustrated version that you had. I think we had that for one of the club meetings too. And then she had the pop-up version. And so it was just really cool seeing like the different art, like as you're going through the chapters, like all next to each other and seeing like this is how and it gives you like a different perspective of like how, sad Harry might look sitting in front of the mirror. And then a little pop-up one, you have like a little mirror that like it was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that we get so many different editions to look at.
It was a good opportunity to explain that to my daughter because we were looking at those illustrations, and then we did watch the movie, which I wanted her to wait till she finished all the books. But you know what? Our children disappoint us in different ways. But I actually thought it was good at her age because to think about it, I didn't read Harry Potter till I was like 11 or 12. And some of the stuff is kind of high concept for her age. She's 7. So it was like good to see on screen and that could explain things. And she noticed a lot more stuff than I thought she would that was different from the book and the movie. But she talked about, she's like, oh, the dog looks so different than the illustration of the dog in the book. And so it was a good opportunity to talk about like different interpretations of art and how like, and I was like, the show will look different. And we were talking about silly little things. Like she's like, I kept imagining Neville blonde. And I was like, I can't remember if he's described with brown hair. I was like, but you do that. Like you imagine like people in books, how you imagine them. And then you're like, oh, wait, that's not even how they were described. That's just what I decided they look like. And that's the fun.
Right?
I imagined Malfoy with black hair for a long time.
I think I did too. I think I imagined it with black hair.
Have you guys started book 2, Jamie?
No, we have not. We just watched the movie last night. And so maybe tonight we'll start 2.
I am going to keep up. I'm going to catch up and I'm going to keep reading because I think it's good. I think it'll be tougher maybe in the later books also because we're going to be listening to the new audiobooks when they come out, which I did. I am going to have 3 months of Audible for £3. So I will get the first.
Well, and I think during the holidays we'll probably take a little bit of a break, or I am thinking after 3 I might take a little break for her just because she's so young that like once you get into 4 it gets a lot more in depth. So I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Natural break.
Gotta find
How far are you supposed to read before this next meeting, Jamie? What chapter are we going to?
3.
I think chapter 3.
We're doing somewhere around 3 chapters or 50 pages each.
I haven't even looked at the book to see how many chapters there are in Chambers. So
maybe
I gotta figure that
find another series that she might like in the meantime. Break up the time.
She has the beginning of Babysitter's Club, so we might start there. But we're trying to finish this one by Thanksgiving so she can watch the movie with Denise.
Oh, that's nice. And guess who else will be
The
there for
best movie.
Thanksgiving? Me. Yeah, you.
Oh, can I just tell you, Mitchell? Jesse, my son with autism, who doesn't have very good communication. I said, "Oh, who's coming for Thanksgiving?" And my daughter said, "Denise." And Jesse goes, "The baby." He goes, "I'm so excited to see him." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I'm very excited.
He loves babies.
For everyone to meet little baby Seth. You know what's bad is that I really like making meth jokes, and I name my son Seth, and I just can't stop rhyming Seth and meth. It's terrible. I do like these.
No one else is doing it.
Sing-sully lullabies, and they all include meth. Okay. Anyway, moving on. We're just going to break down some of the news, very many news pieces and leaks that are coming out, and just talk about what they mean for the series and what we're excited for. First of all, the gentleman who designed a ton of movie posters, including the first 2 Harry Potter movie posters, has passed away today. His name was Drew Struzan. And so RIP, those posters, they almost had like that cartoonish feel to them, but they're very like memorable.
He like hand painted them, right?
Yeah.
Like they were painted or drawn by him. They don't do that anymore.
In the illustrated world, for a long time, there have been the first 3 interactive illustrated editions. And now the 4th one came out today, actually. And so another book for you guys to buy. I've resisted the illustrated and the pop-up editions, but I want them all.
I think the pop-up came out today.
Sorry, interactive illustrated, yes, is pop-up.
Yeah.
I use the technical.
I only have the first
fancy
one of that.
term
And
for pop-up.
our sister just sent that to me very recently. I have the first one now, but it's so fragile.
And then 3 years ago today, we lost Robbie Coltrane, R.I.P. But there's been a lot of filming going on down in Devon and Cornwall, which are kind of like these sleepy, beachy vibes areas of England. And there's also Godric's Hollow has been built. It's using an area called Lustley, and they actually have all these little pieces of signage that say Godric's Hollow. It's interesting to me that they are utilizing, like they're turning a pub into a house for this. Like, why do you think they're doing that and they're not building these all at Leavesden?
I was wondering that too, because like we've seen some other things of like the greenhouses and stuff. I don't know, because you just have so much less control over things when it's not in a studio. But maybe that's the look they're going for. They have the money to do it. Maybe they don't have enough space at least to do as much as they want, because, you know, we didn't think we'd see Godric's Hollow till the 7th season. So it's kind of interesting they're doing that now, and being good. And is that going to last all these years? Because
right, and that's what I
might be a
think, 'cause,
flashback right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably locations that are going to be like a one-off, and they're not going to come back to. I think like the hut on the rock and that kind of stuff, right? So it's like we don't need to build that and have it for future use. But like, if you're going to build Godric Hollow now, like you're going to need it in book 7. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's maybe there's some of that. Maybe it's just external shots that they're just not enough yet to that there won't be enough times to make it worth building something, or no one's going to remember.
Or they could do
seasons.
what they did with the original Privet Drive and use a location for the first film, and then if they need it again and they need more control, then they'll have to build it. But if the Potter's house is using a real location, then yeah, that could pop up in various ways if they want to have memories show that. And I think that's something that like it does fit at the beginning of Philosopher's Stone. We'll talk about another thing that's filming that we're like, does that really work? But that absolutely makes sense that they would show. There's 100 ways that could fit into like into a what's the prologue that could work for the series.
Well, and we'll talk about that. That's my theory, I guess. Right now, there's nothing else like. Can there be anything else to explain it?
Yeah,
They've
what
got
else are they
just
all
a lot
showing?
of flashbacks, or they're starting with a prologue. Weird.
Lee Quinn has been cast. We don't know as who, but some feel she could be Trelawney, which again, if Trelawney's sitting there for 2 books before she's interactive, that's interesting. Jake Curran has been cast as Ronan the Centaur. So one of 3 centaurs that should make an appearance. There's a lot more like there's a church that's been decorated for Godric's Hollow. There's really cool signage that straight up says it's Godric's Hollow. But the most important thing that we've seen is we've seen full on John Lithgow as Dumbledore, fully dressed on a beach. Now, the first images were just of him on a beach, long beard. I'm liking the costume. I'm liking the beard. Liking the very wizardy vibe that he's given off, and the beard is just spectacular, and he looks good. He looks like Dumbledore, and it looked like he was alone. He had his wand out at one point. It looked like he was doing some magic, but since then he's been joined on this beach by Nicolas and Perenelle Flamel, who do not appear in the Harry Potter books. We of course know that they are the beneficiaries and creator of the Philosopher's Sorcerer's Stone. So the real big question here, guys, is what is this? What is it? It also looks like they built their home. So why do we show this? Is this something that happens before? Is it something that happens at the very end? What do you think?
Well, and I was trying to read through the rumors because like who actually confirms that that's Nicolas Perenelle Flamel? Because everyone kept saying it, but I was like,
else could it
what's the source of
be?
this?
I think
don't know.
Gandalf
There's lots
and
of old people all over the
Gandalf.
dang place, But someone said it was them, and everyone just keeps quoting it as if it's fact. I'm like, who actually said this for sure? I don't know if it's.
it
Maybe it's
has
them.
to be them.
Maybe it's not.
I hope so, because otherwise, like, please do not bring in people that aren't even mentioned.
But and it was rumored very early on that they had cast Nicolas Flamel, I should say.
There was a rumor about that. So I'll say this, like, having just watched the movie, there are flashbacks to Harry as a baby, like things we don't necessarily get written out in the book, but we know Harry in the house with his mom, kind of a thing, which that grows throughout the movies where you finally see the full scene at the end with Snape. But I don't mind a little flashy, hey, I went and told them that the stone's being destroyed, they're going to die. I don't need a half-hour scene on it. And I said to you guys before, if they're adding stuff, every little effing other thing better be in there. Hagrid better give Harry that flute. And, I want to see everything if you're going to be adding stuff. I'm okay with it if it's just but it did not look like just a flash. It looks like there's a full-blown conversation.
It looks like multiple conversations. And if their house is there, like I'm watching the video now and it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds and it's a lot of them pacing on the beach and talking. That could be quick. But the fact that they also cast his wife, there is a part where they're sitting, but I think that's just actors sitting around. But there is one thing that clearly looks like set dressing or a prop with them. I don't know, man. But if you're a filmmaking nerd, it is really fun to watch the filming, the boom mic, even though they're going to ADR this because you can't shoot at a beach like that. But like, it is so cool. Just, and just the fact that Dumbledore looks good. But yeah, like if they do a whole side thing about who he's protecting this for a friend and having to tell his friend like, oh, sorry, you're going to have to stop using the stone. We had to destroy it to stop Voldemort from coming back, even though he's going to do it anyway. Yeah, it's a wild choice.
Well,
And remember, Daniel Radcliffe did say, even for the movies, was like pretty much what they filmed equaled out to like 7 seconds of actual footage they use in the movie a day. So, I mean, if you come from the filmmaking world, you don't like they might shoot a whole scene and that's nothing. Like it's just
I know they
either
use it,
exposition or, they might not even have actual dialogue. Music might be over it. But I'm just concerned about the fact that, like, especially for this first season and for the first book, you really want to be in Harry's perspective so you could slowly be introduced to the world. And Dumbledore is so much of a mystery
in the first book,
at the beginning in the first book. And so, like, I don't necessarily want too much of him on the side.
But
like, save that.
Well, and so my
But
theory
Steve
is,
was
because
speaking.
did you guys watch Silo? Have you guys seen Silo?
No,
I seen episode 1.
I've read a
Well,
little
see,
bit
because
about
episode
it.
1 is a very good example. The episode 1 and I think episode 2 are like completely separate from the rest of the story. It's like
That's
you
what
don't even
everyone
meet the
says.
main character. You like get a feel for like the like you understand like the tension, but you don't understand why there's tension. And then like those main characters are like gone, and then you move. The last 7 episodes of the season or whatever are with your actual like characters you're going to see all the way through. But it's like it's very much establishing like the lore and the world and like the history, because it's literally what happened before, and then they come. So it's like a prequel almost. But I can see something that happened, and like we talked before about like we want to be, I don't know, episode 2 or something, when Harry finally gets on the Hogwarts Express, where she can spend a lot of time in the Muggle world. And I'm wondering if they're gonna like establish the magical world first with some of this stuff, and then go, episode 2 we meet Harry, and
It-
then we.
No.
But
It would be a good way to differentiate it from the films if they said, we're going to show some Godric's Hollow, maybe even Lily. Because remember, there's the shots of Lily and James in the park. Maybe we're going to show
But
Lily and James in the park, and then
yeah,
but
them
then
at
that
Godric's
takes
Hollow.
away
and then-
from the mirror. That takes away, because again, we also had footage a little while back of Lily and James, we believe, out somewhere, and that could have been a photo shoot, that could have been a lot of things for the moving pictures and all that. But so much of the first is about this little boy whose parents have died and he knows nothing about them. And so I just feel like you're going to lose. I don't know. But also, if you want to differentiate from the movies, we need to start in the Muggle world. Because we do not, you start technically in the Muggle world, but you do not start with the Dursleys. You start with a Dumbledore right off the bat. And if I sit down to this episode 1 and we are not with Vernon Dursley, I'm going to be pissed.
I think we're getting some exposition from Flamel and Lily and James. Or Lily and James, you're right, that could be for a photo that Harry gets or for something. But I think that us seeing that and then later seeing them in the mirror, it's just we're going to have some perspective that Harry doesn't, which is not the point of the first book. I totally get not like.
And I don't mind,
I
like,
think
as
too-
it's mentioned how his parents died, maybe revealing a shot of that. That's fine. But I don't want to see little Harry on that broomstick
Oh, that would be cute. I like it.
until
I
way
do want
later.
to see it, but not yet. But I do wonder too, because like Hagrid gives Harry the album with pictures of his parents later, right? Like it could be like those are the pictures of them in the forest together, whatever it was, going on a walk. But it could also be a sense, if it's a prequel type of thing, it could also be like establishing like we get to see how happy they are as a family, and there's a tragedy of like then they got murdered, and then Harry in the mirror. It, in some ways, could be more impactful because you now have a sense of what he's missing out on that he doesn't remember, right? And so there's this, I don't know, different layers, but it would be a very different approach than what's in the books. So I'm a little torn about
Now-
excited for different, and they better not do that to my story.
We do have some photographs of some sets that are in the books, rest assured. Well, kind of. The first one is like this like garden thing that definitely has a statue of a badger. People are saying this is like some sort of garden or entryway next to the Quidditch pitch. That makes no sense to me, but it's fine.
I didn't think the Quidditch pitch. I thought maybe outside the greenhouse because that's like her thing. But also, what if there's little gardens like that? Like maybe there's one with a lion, one with a
It could just be a
raven,
nice
whatever.
set to have some scenes, and then there is a greenhouse set, only one that we see so far, and there should be several greenhouses if we're being accurate, and there's some gardens outside of the greenhouse, but interesting to see that. And then the big thing is that there's clearly like a small castle courtyard that already has some blue screen around different aspects of it, but it does look different from what we've seen in the movies. People are saying this looks like Hogwarts Legacy, which again, if they're going to make those things cohesive, more power to you.
Which is so cool. You guys got to play it. And I am happy to see, because we know for sure they're using volume, right? Or did we just assume that?
We assumed it. I think they're going to use it, but the fact that we're
Plus, there's
seeing
blue
all of
screen.
these, them building
Yes.
these sets outside of the main studio area, it clearly, and we've seen them film in 4 or 5 more different on location. That makes me think they are going to great effort. Now, there's always digital stuff going on in the background, but I want digital stuff like David Fincher does. Like, people think Fincher's making normal contemporary stuff. He's got like layers and layers of VFX going behind a shot. You just don't know it. So I want that, and I want really limited use of the volume. And this makes me more hopeful that they're doing their best with more
I agree.
practicality.
I'm happy to see, like, because we thought, what was the last thing we saw? I think it was like Harry and Hagrid walking through London. But we saw them at the zoo, like things we knew we would probably see, that there would be footage of the shooting. But now we've gotten some extra things. But I think that's good. Obviously, the goal, and they have the money to do as much practical as you can, and then add the digital stuff, which is still great. My daughter was talking about the movie. She's like, why does Fluffy look cartoon and all stuff? And I was like, well, this was made when I was a kid and technology wasn't quite there yet.
I will say this book should not be that hard to not use volume. It's later in the books where there are some backgrounds where it'd be more tempting.
Do you want to explain real quick? Because I don't know if everyone knows, what is volume?
Oh, volume is like a giant LED screen that does a really good job at creating background and depth. First big thing it was used in, and people felt to great effect, was in The Mandalorian, but it does seem like it's since then been abused and been replacing either proper locations or proper VFX shots, because it's kind of a shortcut in that they put that behind you instead of having to do all that work in post and do it on a green screen or a blue screen. So I hope it still has its place. It was a big step forward, but all of a sudden it was overused, and now you can really, there were some moments in like The Acolyte and the later seasons of Mando where it's like, I can't even pretend to believe you're in a forest. This looks so ridiculous. Continuing on with just some bits that are coming along, Locke's Pratt. His name is Pratt, and his first name is Locke. It just fits too well. He's going to play Draco Malfoy. Just some photos of him in The Lord of the Flies. They're making another TV show of it. If you've never read Lord of the Flies, people understand the literary reference. A bunch of boys on an island try and be organized and do a terrible job of it. But it has a picture of him in, like, wild in the jungle, and then it has one of him like in his schoolboy uniform where he looks like a douchebag. I'm like, yes. I mean, and Locks, if you're listening, I mean that in the best way, okay? Like, you're going to be a great douchebag, and that's the role.
Embrace all of your douchebag tendencies.
And then, because the kid who's playing Harry, whose name has fluttered away, like, he's got a movie coming out. We're going to hear Hermione's voice as Hermione a good year and a half before we see her as Hermione. Yeah, there's a lot going on. We've seen Harry's body double, who I don't think looks that much like Harry. And then, we see the leak a while back was the Dursleys clearly getting ready to go on a little dinghy. Did we talk about this on this, or was that just in our chat?
We haven't. I don't think we've talked about that. Them going on the raft.
It's funny because for our listeners, sometimes we start having these conversations amongst ourselves, and one of us or one of our spouses will be like, "What are you doing? Shut up! Save it for the podcast."
To be fair, that was like, if it happens the day after we record, it's tough, and then we had to miss a week for extenuating circumstances. So there's a lot to talk about. You can't remember what you have.
But and I'm passionate about it in the moment. So
it's true. Yeah. I did say, because Jamie was passionate about this Nicolas Flamel crap. But it's interesting.
Can you put up my Dumbledore video that I created, or image with AI that shows him at the beach? Can we add that in here?
We're anti-AI, Steve. You should put that on the TikTok, to be fair. But yeah, it is funny to think. Doesn't Harry at some point imagine that he's like Dumbledore just on summer vacation on the beach?
Yeah, but it's not in book 1, I don't think.
No. It is interesting
for later
from these shots with the Dursleys to see Vernon clearly has like a gun-shaped package. Like, it's long and skinny described in the book. Another thing they didn't do exactly. But Petunia looks great. She looks very posh and blonde. I don't know if I feel like that's the car I would have chosen for them. And then Dudley is also on site in like his very 90s jacket. It looks good.
It does look good, and I'm happy to see all that being filmed because, again, I just watched this movie again after reading the book. Yeah. They skip all over. I still do not to this day how people even understand what is happening in that movie because they skip over so much. It's like, what happened to this man? There
are certain things, like if you told me they're not going to show them getting in the boat and rowing to the island, that's fine. That is, but like them I like when they're in the hotel and the guy comes up to him and says, like, all those steps, every step that Vernon takes to get away, to me is interesting. And when they first showed Dumbledore on the beach, people were like, "Oh, is he going to be watching Harry on the island? Is he seeing him as he's sending him these letters in all these crazy ways?"
Oh, that's what I got mad about.
That was my initial theory, yeah, was that Dumbledore was actually following her. 'Cause I don't know that Hagrid could do all the magic required to, like, put the letters into the eggs and that kinda stuff, you know? But Dumbledore could, but then, maybe the last day, he
Yeah.
couldn't go, so Hagrid had to go. But then, other people start showing up at the beach, and we're, building sandcastles, and I'm kidding
It's a
about that
beach
part, but,
party.
Shout
like,
out! Oh,
it's just too much.
that was
Kills me.
filmed at Cadgwith. No idea where these places are, guys. We do know on the 21st and 22nd they will be filming in Skipton in North Yorkshire, and this is more of a castle-y vibe. So again, this is weird to me because I'm like, are they going to go back to film there? Because we know that there's like a courtyard in a couple of movies, and in one there's a lot of castle exteriors that are not in the rest, that are clearly in such a different location from the rest of them. So
But I kind of love them.
use it again. I know. I just want consistency. That's all.
I do too. And that's why if they are building these things to stick around all this time, I do think it's cool. Like, places we'll see in book 1 and book 7, if they can be consistent, I'm all for it. I don't know if that's going to happen. But, Steven thinks they're shooting Lithgow out before he dies. So we'll see.
Yeah, get all
That's a
those
wrap.
scenes done. Maybe they can use volume. Can they use that to, just
He'll give all
The
his
poor
rights
guy.
over for AI, and they can benefit his.
He better
his
done it
family.
already. They need to sign that crap up front.
think
'Cause
he
this
will.
man, he's not gonna make it.
He's an artiste.
Yeah, but once you're dead, do you really care? Just get your family tons of money once you're gone. Like, how much do you care about your artisticness?
If you get the money.
I think we're fairly caught up on leaks and stuff. I will run through Reddit and just make sure we haven't missed anything new. But I think we're getting way more visuals than I thought we would. Like the fact that you have 2-3-minute videos of Dumbledore and Flamel walking along that beach, to me, is already wild.
Don't
Can
support
you
the
imagine? You
paparazzi.
didn't get any of this when the other movies got made or anything, like no one at that point had any drones or cell phone cameras and stuff. So like it's just a different older filming. It does make me think though, like I don't know like how construction is, progressing and everything for like the permanent sets they're building and all of that. But it does seem like they're kind of doing everything else first. And so I wonder if that just means it's not quite ready. Because I do feel like I think we talked about this before. Once they kind of get into that like compound and start filming, I think it's gonna be a lot harder for people to be able to get shots and snippets of actors and scenes and everything, especially if they keep banning the
Well,
drones or all that kind of stuff they're doing.
that's the thing. Like we've seen, they released that photo of Dominic in costume, which could have been like a wardrobe test or anything that doesn't mean he was like necessarily filming that day. But I am wondering, I'm like, are they doing any of that yet? Like scheduling wise, they probably are shooting out these like small individual scenes first, shooting out the Dursleys as we can see because, they're not in the whole thing. And then they'll do the big chunk in the middle. But I'm wondering if any of that is already rolling, if, like there's multiple teams shooting. So like maybe someone's shooting the Dumbledore stuff while someone's in the Great Hall, like if any of that's going. But also I think we would hear more about extra casting and for like the first movie they used like schools full of kids to come out, like, so I wonder if we'll hear more about that or if that's like already going on behind the scenes. But let's get this shot and edited, people.
It
Let's
seems
get
like
this
they're
out. making
good momentum, but it also seems like they're
Yeah.
shooting this like a movie, which that's a lot of time. That is a lot
Yeah.
of effort to put in. And I'm just fascinated to see what they're adding and how accurate they're going to stay. But it does make me feel like it's going to feel fresh. And I do think, I don't know what leaks they're more okay with and less annoyed by, but I think this is building some excitement in a healthy way.
I think so too.
Well, I think that's part of it too, though, right? Because like the scenes we're talking about on the beach, like that could be like a quick flash. It might be like 3 seconds or something after all is said and done. But like, think about the buzz it's created on social media with everyone going, "What the heck is Dumbledore doing on the beach?" And like, because they've been doing so much with merch and all kinds of things to, get people, thinking about Harry Potter again and excited for this, even though it's so far out. And so I think there's a little bit of a strategy to that too.
Can I just say I went to Walmart yesterday to buy stuff for our movie night because I was like, our grocery store has like some stuff, and I was like, well, let's go to Walmart. Maybe there'll be like more stuff. There was nothing Harry Potter,
Oh,
which was fine.
Dude,
We just made our own
Walmart's
stuff
always
up.
got plenty of Harry Potter stuff.
I don't like. There was like the fruit snacks, and then like the Hershey chocolates, like the plain Hershey, not the cookie and cream better ones. I was like, well, whatever. We got
Right.
pretzel sticks. and pumpkin pie.
Excited.
There
Lots
is
coming
pumpkin flavored
along.
everything right now. That's good.
But I'm excited we're shooting. And yes, I mean, in the end, I'm excited that they're taking their time. It seems like it's going to be of good quality. I'm excited to see different wardrobe besides Timu Hagrid and same looking
He's
Harry.
not that
Like, it's
bad.
nice to see there's going to be, it's not that bad, but come on. It looks the same as Robbie, but a little cheaper and
But
worse.
don't you think the Weasleys and Dumbledore and the Dursleys have all looked really good?
Yes,
Other than
and that's
maybe
what I'm saying.
Mrs.
I'm
Weasley
excited
not
to see
looking
more.
poor enough. I would have liked her to look more poor.
Well, I would like her to look less like Peg Bundy. I can nitpick at some things that aren't like, but it's like, it's going to be different, which is what we want. We do not want the same thing. And I want to see like seeing the guy in the purple robes that Vernon runs into. I like seeing that stuff happening, like those little things. I'm hoping when Harry, when he goes in the Leaky Halls, like I want more like just watching the movie. My daughter was even like 3 people came and talked to him in the book. Like everyone's so excited. Like I want to see like these crazy kind of characters. I'm
Lean
hoping
into
just
the quirkiness.
happen.
Get the
Yes.
tone. Make the tone unique. You know what sucks though is as I was thinking about this, I was like, oh, when we get like title art, just some key art, just this is like I'm not expecting trailer, but it's so likely we get almost absolutely nothing until next fall.
Yeah, because
it's so far away still. What are we doing?
And we're here talking about it.
You know what was funny
We're
though
here
the other
first,
day
though.
is because they had like a teeny little tiny teaser / trailer for the trailer of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms that came out recently. It's just like, let's have a trailer for the trailer, which is going to tell us about a show that's actually going to start in, I don't know, however many months. And I was just like, man, they're going to do that to us with Harry Potter for like a year. We're going to get like, here's this.
Well, at least we'll dissect that 30-second thing more than
you know we will.
One more thing about like having just read the books and then thinking about like Snape. He's just such a sleazy butthole. And then like our interpretation of Snape has really been altered because of the movies, and I think in a good way. So I'm a little excited to see like a different Snape, and I will say that's the one character I don't mind if it's a little different from the books, in that just having read book 1 and I had recently listened to the last book, I think it's easier for me to forgive, and not that I completely forgive him, movie Snape over book Snape. He's such a jerk.
He's a petty.
He's like torturing this 11-year-old boy. Like in this first book, he's like, whatever, when he gets a 15, 16, 17, still jerk move. But this kid is an 11-year-old boy, and you're being so cruel to him. And in the movie, it's not as bad. Like he's mean, but it's not as bad as the book.
But it is a kid's book. Like you do have cartoonish villains, and that is a fine line that now they need to have a happy medium between movie Snape and book Snape, but also be unique and effective. It is a tough challenge, and that's why they got a very good actor. It's again just weird that it's the only one they chose to go completely different from the description on, and it could have negative effects later through the bullying, but definitely not an issue that he's black. More black people.
Well, and then my daughter was like, she was sure the whole time, like we all were when we were kids, that it was Snape, like, and then she's like, but why was Snape pretending to be mean? I was like, nope. He is mean.
He is mean.
Remember, he's still a bully. Anyway, we could be done.
The world is not divided up into good people and Death Eaters, as my good friend Sirius once said. So you can be a douchebag and not be a Death Eater. It's okay.
I think the good news is there's definitely going to be some big breaking news tomorrow because we've just podcasted. So
that's how it always goes.
Voldemort tomorrow.
And I was reading, I mean, I don't know how true this is. Someone online was talking about, like, even within the next year, if they're really going to be moving along, like right into Chambers, we might start getting casting news about that within this time. So
at least casting news. If not, they have to be shooting before season 1 premieres if they're going to try and stay on the timeline.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild to think about. We're going to be talking about Chamber of Secrets leaks before we see a trailer for season 1 at this. But I will say, we do know that, so I listened to a podcast called The Watch, and one of the writers of Harry Potter, Andy Greenwald, is one of the hosts. So he started as a music and TV critic and has now worked on TV shows. We talked about him ages ago, but he's back in London. So they're breaking, if not moving already into season 2 writing, which totally makes sense. But like, it is one indicator that they are going to really chug right along. And you got to wonder how bad season 1 would have to do for them to be like, well, we're already making 2, so we'll finish it. But we won't think like that. We're positive people.
Get the Fantastic Beast treatment. Like, yeah, we'll keep going until we can't anymore and then cancel it early.
We'll just condense the last 5 books into one movie and end it.
The end.
Add lots of dragons.
Well, there are hopefully more exciting pictures and things on the way. Although by the time the actual show comes out, who knows how we're going to feel, because we're going to have been doing this for 7 years. But I am very excited, and hopefully some cool stuff does drop this week. I'm excited for the new audiobooks and everything coming our way. And I hope the series works because I want this universe to expand a little bit. I'm also looking forward to, I'm going to see both of you in the flesh next month. Maybe we'll podcast in person. Maybe not. We'll see in the logistics. Kind of crazy. But next week, we're going to kind of get back to our people, places, things, our nouns, and we're going to talk about the Hogwarts Express and its many eccentricities and the different ways you can visit it in the real world. And please follow us on all the social medias at HPTVPod. We have a grand old time on TikTok and Instagram. We got kicked off of Twitter. That's how edgy we are. Even Elon Musk doesn't want us on his platform. But also email us if you have any thoughts, feelings, concerns at hptvpodcast@gmail.com. Jaime, send us out.
Peace out, snitches.